We're live, suckers. What's up, world? Drop your pants. Wait, who said that?
Okay.
This one's gonna be a bit crazy. It's gonna be a bumpy ride, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Hope you all had a good Christmas and got some good stuff. You know. Yeah.
Woo!
How was your Christmas, Mike? We talked about it, but I'm sure the people want to know how your Christmas was.
Good.
Yeah, and that's like you have a family and everything, so that's the extent of it. It was pretty good.
It's good. I don't know. I mean, I don't super get into Christmas. We don't really like exchange gifts and stuff. I actually at 9:30 on Christmas Eve realized that I did not get my wife anything. And I knew it wasn't going to be like a big deal, but I thought like I definitely should have had the kids make her something, like A.M.A make her something, and I didn't even do that. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. So yeah, don't expect literally anything tomorrow because I did nothing.
Aw.
Yeah, no.
That's jacked up, dude. Yeah, I can't do that. My wife will kill me, man. She won't allow that.
Yeah, well, we kind of like said we weren't going to do anything too crazy, but yeah, I definitely should have like.
Gotta get something though.
Yeah, well, I mostly just felt bad that I didn't have the kids get anything.
Sure.
Or make her anything. So that's on me.
Everybody, you can ask questions in the chat. Beeple's going about making one of his everydays right now because he's a savage. Let's see how far you get with this while I'm talking to you. Yeah, but we're in Cinema 4D, obviously. Mike's bread and butter, so this is where he makes all his Christmas presents. So,
yeah.
Did you make her like a 3D rendering?
I used to. Honestly, I used to make like very elaborate like birthday stuff and like Christmas stuff. No, I don't.
The love is gone. That's what happens when you have kids, man. They take up all.
It's not. Yeah, I just have like
stuff.
no fucking time. Like, yeah.
What's keeping you busy now?
Just work and trying to make shit and kids.
And the cold, dude. Keeping out of the cold. Staying away from the frigid.
Cold. Yeah. The frigid frickin' tundra. Did I tell you I was moving?
Yeah.
I don't actually know.
That's awesome.
Okay, yeah.
When are you?
Yeah,
it's like
so
8 months, right? You guys are building.
Hopefully.
The Beeple
Hopefully
castle?
last. I don't know about castle, but yeah, it'll probably be like probably around there, 8 months or so, I would say.
It's the reasons just because it's cold as balls where you're at.
Yeah. Yes, and just kind of wanted to, I don't know, change of pace, try something different. Like we both lived here pretty much our, entire life, and it's like, oh, I don't know, let's try something different.
That's cool.
Doing freelance or whatever, so I could, work from anywhere. So it's kind of like, I don't know, let's give something else a go, see how it goes.
Awesome. Yeah, you've developed quite a name for yourself, so it shouldn't be a big problem. So that helping, you've been able to work on some pretty cool projects this year, yeah?
Yeah, there's been a couple cool things. Definitely some fun stuff.
Awesome.
Stuff that I haven't. Prior to this year, I've done mostly concert visual stuff. And then this year I had a number of projects that were not in that realm, in some other realms. So that's kind of been interesting. Definitely a interesting change of pace. I don't know how much like I can really say about these things.
Yeah, don't get in trouble.
I know I hate to be like, I'm working on this cool thing, but I can't tell you what it is. But
yeah, that's how it goes. It's called an NDA and get in trouble.
butthurt.
Thank you. Yeah. Like, why did you talk about that thing we talked about? It's Fight Club, basically.
Yeah, some of it seems a little like certain things I can see, but certain things seem a little excessive. Where it's like, okay, let's assume somebody knew this. What could your competition possibly do, like, with that knowledge? Like, there's literally nothing they could, like,
Yeah.
it's not going to benefit them. They don't own the rights to, XYZ information or IP or whatever.
Yeah.
So they can't do anything with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've worked on plenty of crap like that where it's sort of...
Yeah. It's quite a bummer, but it is what it is, so... Do you have hotkeys set for doing extrusions and all that kind of stuff?
Or
do you
I don't. There's just like these are just the like standard ones.
That's
like
when you hit
press,
M, right, and then you can find those ones.
If you press M and then you can do like T is extrude. But I didn't. That's just how it is. I didn't like set that.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. I just got the. I've never really modeled in Cinema. It's been mostly just Fusion 360. You've been playing with that, right?
I have, but I don't know. How does it run on yours? Because it runs slow as fuck on mine. Just doing like just normal shit where it's like, okay, I just want to move the camera around a little bit. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it basically boils down to that I don't know the program.
Yeah. It works pretty good. It does some really insane things that other programs have a hard time with. The biggest problem I have is like the topology is crap. So when you bring it back in, it's quite difficult to really put it all together, basically. So it's kind of like I don't know. If you're fast at doing stuff here in the polygon mode and stuff, polygonal modeling inside, I think it's fine. But it does some really cool like Boolean operations that are really hard to match, which is the key to it. And A.M.A is the one that really showed me its power while we were working on Ghost in the Shell. You got some insane stuff that he was building for the sets and stuff. So it's definitely a different process. But I got that tutorial, Make It Look Great. Have you seen those tutorials? The guy does that hard surface modeling. It's really good. So I have,
but I haven't really. I've never gone through any of them.
Okay, you're self-taught.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, self-taught. I mean, I haven't gone through those specifically, but I've gone through other like definitely tons of tutorials and stuff.
Yeah. You watch a lot of tutorials like online and stuff, or how do you get access to that stuff?
Not as many as I used to, but yeah. I mean, anytime. It's more so I used to just watch tutorials for like, I don't want to say fun, but I would just randomly watch tutorials. Now it's more so like, okay, how the fuck do I do this one thing?
Yeah. And then do you find yourself just trying to problem solve as you go? And then just trying to figure it out?
Yeah, kind of trying to get, I mean, I'll usually, a lot of times though, if it's something that I can't figure out fairly quickly, I'll just do something different. Like I won't. There's a lot of people I feel like will sit and like spend like any amount of time trying to find the like correct solution to a like problem, and I won't do that if I don't have to. If I have to, then I'll do it. But if I don't have to, then I'll just do something else that I know how to do, just because I'm like lazy and hate learning.
Yeah. Well, the transparency and honesty is great. So it's cool.
There's nothing. If there's nothing I hate more than anything, it's learning. If I learn
in the squared way,
no,
too.
I mean, it's true in a sense. It's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's painful to like, when you're spending time learning something, you're not really like, creating something. So it's not something that I like.
Depends on your perspective on it too. Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult though to constantly want to learn. It's difficult because you're constantly you're a noob basically. It's really quite difficult, So
not only that, but it's like what's frustrating too is a lot of the things you're learning like will not you have to learn. You have to keep learning. Like, there's no way around that. You obviously have to.
Yeah.
You can, whether you like it or not, you have to keep learning things. But the thing that is frustrating is a lot of the stuff that you're learning, especially if it's technical things, it's not really, it's probably not going to be relevant for very long. Like, say, I've been kind of around a while, and like Flash, I've had spent years learning about Flash and this and that and how to blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, that's just literally fucking useless knowledge now.
Yeah, because the trend
Totally,
died. Yeah.
totally, absolutely useless.
What do you think's the next useless thing that's going to happen in the system?
I don't know. There's so many things being automated where it's kind of like rigging. Now it's kind of like you've got like those things like Mix-em-all and stuff like that, where it's like rigging at some level is still useful, but if you're just somebody who wants to just, fudge together some bullshit, then you don't really need to know how to rig.
Sure, yeah.
Like, there's constantly things that are making things easier. Like if you were somebody who learned thinking particles, it's probably somewhat useful still, but X particles comes along and it's like, no, it's not that really useful. Or say you're somebody who learned V-Ray. It's like, well, V-Ray kind of, fell out of favor here, and so that's
yeah. We had this guy named Grant Warwick on. He's like big time advocate for V-Ray, and he
still actually
it's pretty awesome. V-Ray, they have a real time renderer now, which is pretty awesome. So but it's true though. It's quite funny.
It's not. It might be good, and there's obviously still, I think, a lot of production people that use it. But if somebody was starting out, I probably wouldn't recommend they learn V-Ray as their first, what they want to put time into.
Yeah. It just takes a bit of time, and it all takes time, right? And I guess it just breaks down to, you have a family, so it's, how it is. It's quite complex and hard to manage all this stuff, Doing art and learning stuff is quite a selfish thing, too. So, because it's a very insular thing, like only you can go in and do the journey of it, So, the process of it. So, like learning art, for example, you can't be like, yeah, okay, family, we're going to sit down and watch some Cinema 4D tutorials or something. Like, they don't want to do that, So, it has to be like a thing that you do individually on your own time and stuff. So,
sure, but it's like, okay, you have to provide for your family, so it's not like
sure.
I would say it's not as selfish as certain other tasks that you could be spending your time doing. You know what I mean?
Watching football. Yeah.
Sure, something like that, where it's like purely like recreational. If you're trying to like learn something and grow your like skill set, then it's probably not the most selfish thing you could be spending your time doing.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I know what you mean.
Yeah. What are you doing now? You just building like an army of assets and stuff?
Yeah, it's just kind of been into these sort of, I don't know, like little motherfucker.
People are asking what the S button is, right above the viewport.
The S button. This?
Yeah.
Magic Solo.
Superman? Is it a plugin or something?
It is a plugin by that Nitro 4D dude, and it's like super. I don't know. I haven't used this solo. Where the fuck is it? Is this
Solo?
it? I don't even know what it. Yeah, this one seems better to me for some reason. It just seems better. I haven't used the like one that they built in.
Oh, okay. What's your main go-to
but this seems
plugins?
Better.
That's one of them. Is that just like take your file so you can just have like focus on one thing at a time?
Yeah, and the thing that I like about it is, and I could be wrong about this, but I don't know if this one does that, is that you can add things. So I soloed like this, but then I can add things, and it will still like they'll be soloed as well.
That's cool. Inside that tree.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, they don't even need to be inside that tree. I can just like, okay, here's a box now. And now I'm working with this and this box, and it's automatically like soloed or whatever.
Oh, okay. And then you get out of it.
So
by
then I
clicking
just click it again, and then it's like, okay. So if I'm kind of building these little sort of building things or whatever, then I can kind of just focus on one, and then I can also, if you build everything at in the center at 0, 0, 0, then you can kind of, it's easier to like, okay, if I bring in another thing, then I know it's already like zeroed out, and I know it's going to be, equal distance here and equal distance there or whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Nice. There's a lot of plugins to look into. What are some of the main ones that you like?
I mean, Octane, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, Hot 4D too, huh?
Yeah, it's like a hot thing. I don't really use it that much. This dual graph thing is kind of cool. It like takes and makes triangles into like hexagons or something.
Is it by those like Houdini guys, right?
I think so. Yeah, like I can't remember his Asper.
Like makes like a Veroni or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It makes like a
shape. Fancy shit. Some fancy shit.
Popular now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Have you ever considered learning other programs, or is this like your main? You'll ride or die. It's Cinema 4D. There's no real reason, right? I guess.
Yeah. Again, like I wouldn't learn something unless I really had to. I've been kind of dicking around with Houdini a little bit, but I don't know. Have you tried playing with Houdini at all?
It's this. I have the same thing with like ZBrush. It's like, ow, it just hurts because I expect it to, So it's called Intagma, is the people that make dual graph. That's why. Thanks for the clarity. People are commenting in the chat, but yeah, definitely. It's it's a different thing, like
it's got a learning curve.
Yeah, a huge learning curve. Like Adam Swab.
It's got a motherfucking learning curve.
Adam Swab just released his class on Learn Squared with Houdini, and his biggest piece of advice for people that are learning it, which I thought was really good, is to expect nothing from it and look away from like anything that you've learned before because it's completely different. So the learning curve is like, oh, you could shred in this program and be really good, but it doesn't translate at all, really. To the other programs, basically. So,
and that's what like frustrates me when it's like, I could do this kind of like 70% as good in this other program, but that last like fucking 30% I could only do with Houdini.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of the stuff that you can do in Houdini, you can do in Cinema 4D. But it's there, you can, because it's multi-threaded or this and that. It's got that last 30% of things that it, can do. I mean, obviously, if you really know Houdini, you can do fucking anything in it. Like, literally anything in it. But
yeah, because you can basically control the parameters inside with the program and how the program works.
Yeah, you just start scripting out shit. You can do any crazy fucking thing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely been.
You got to have a certain brain for it, I believe. It's a completely different thing. So, you see, you're big. Go ahead, sorry.
It seems like a lot of like, if you really want to get like fucking balls deep with it, you need to have some understanding of like vector math. And it's like, I don't fucking know that shit. Like, I don't know any goddamn matricey shit. Like, nor do I want to like get into like stuff like that. I don't know. That doesn't, getting all super deep and complicated and crap like that doesn't appeal to me, really.
Yeah, well, it's good. You shouldn't do anything that doesn't appeal to you, because what's the point, So again, because it's like the process of learning and stuff. So I noticed you're changing the Phong angle. Is that to create more of a hard surface on this? And how can you tell? Do you just gauge it by your eye to get that Phong angle that snaps to it, or what?
Why the fuck isn't this? Why the hell isn't doing this? If I'm doing hard stuff like this, I'll usually put it at. Why the fuck isn't that looping?
Yeah, I have a problem with that sometimes too. It doesn't loop around. Is your cut right?
I have no idea what the fuck. Was it because there was a cap? No, I don't know. What in the motherfucker is this doing? Select boundary loop? Does anybody know why this fucking loop is not UL?
Yeah, because usually it's UL, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This? Is it this?
Let's see if anybody asks. Who's got an answer?
New question.
New question. Yeah.
Is this everything?
Did you do a direct cut through it?
I don't know what the fuck it's doing. Whatever. Just do something different.
Could be that anus button. You keep pushing the anus button.
Could be. What were you saying before?
I'm just letting everybody know. You can keep asking questions. I'm gonna kind of weave them in through as Mike's making his work. So, actually, a question. I have a question for Beeple. You had an everyday a while back called Swamp Life, and it was yellow and almost two-dimensional. It reminds me of KRK speakers. Is that where the inspiration for that piece came from? Damn, they got deep with it. Super meta. Do you even remember what that is?
No.
Do you have like a list of it?
Swamp Life.
Swamp Life.
It looked like what?
KRK speakers.
KRK. I don't know what the fuck that looks like.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe who asked that question? It was a while back. If you could just post a link and
the date. No, just tell me the date.
Tell us the date. Yeah. Yeah, they'll bring it back up. I imagine there's a little lag in the stream, so they'll come up with it. Somebody's asking, you can model in Cinema 4D. Yes, you can. What kind of mechanical keyboard do you have? It's one of the original stock Windows ones.
Well, so I don't know what people mean by mechanical keyboard.
It's like the ones that make extra noise. You have like the brown, the blue, the white, the black. The way that the keys go, you know.
Purposely make more noise.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of it.
It's just like the click. It's supposed to, you know, like I don't know.
This
like
is a
Andrew has one of those. So.
No, this is a $30 keyboard. It's just a piece of shit, whatever keyboard. It's nothing special.
Nice. So it's like a Dell Jam.
It's a Dynax.
A Dynax? Oh, okay. I don't even know what that is.
It's a shitty cheap brand.
They posted a link of this thing in the chat thing, but there's no date on it, so yeah.
Actually, this is the chat for the Skype.
You gotta go on yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I think it's an older one. There's no date on it unless you guys want to share the date. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. It's all good. Sorry, dude. Ever answer that? Probably. The answer is probably yes. Probably yes. So that answers those. How often do you completely start over on a daily render?
Not too often. I mean, sometimes when I'm like right in the beginning, but not. I don't really have time to like start completely over when I've put any amount of like actual time into it.
Yeah.
Just because I don't really have that sort of freedom. Have to get something done quicker than that.
You basically spend all your day like making hard surface dongs. Punishment dongs. And most of it's just like extruding, beveling, pulling.
Yeah, this is like the same
moves over.
Same couple operations like over and over, just to kind of make some like sort of beveling edges, this or that. That is the one thing that's like great about those other things is you can do all kinds of crazy, like if I wanted to put in a shit ton of like holes in the side of this. Yeah. I could easily do that. You can't really, so easily do that with something like this.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. It'd be cool if they had an operation for booleans and stuff. So.
Well, they do, but it's just not. You can drastically fuck up the model
Yeah.
really quick. Like this is obviously I'm doing very like dirty modeling or whatever, just because it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
These are, yeah, they're gonna be like so far away where you're not gonna like see any of the like tiny like little details or this or that.
It'd be really cool if you could just make whatever you want and then let the computer calculate how to retool it. Kind of like ZBrush does that, you know, with like the Dynamesh and all that stuff.
Sure, yeah. No,
is there anything that's like that? Is there a plugin or anything like that? Just basically you just go like balls to the walls and make something, and then it's like it cleans it up for you?
Not that I know of.
Man, there's got to be somebody smarter than us that wants to make some cash off that, because I'd buy it for sure. Yeah.
I think there will definitely be. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
They're always kind of improving stuff like that. Have you tried that? I've been wanting to try that Medium.
No, what's that?
It's a sculpting thing for the Rift.
Oh, okay. Are you getting into VR stuff too, or what?
Yeah, a bit. I
Just
haven't
the porn
really.
side of it, or what?
Yeah, mainly the gay porn side of it. No, I haven't tried.
I said porn.
I don't.
Went far with that.
I don't have a.
You can link
Rift.
to your sources for that.
Okay. I only have a Vive.
Samsung or what? A Vive? What is that?
Yeah.
What's the Vive?
So the Vive is
I've
just another
seen it.
headset by HTC. The difference is they've had the touch controllers or whatever. They've had hand controllers for longer than Oculus has.
Yeah.
And it's quote unquote room scale. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of move around a little bit, whereas with Oculus, you can move around a little, but it's kind of a smaller region. Is my understanding is you can move around maybe like a 3 to 5 foot area, I would say, versus like a 15-foot area that you could move around with the Vive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But otherwise, they're basically the same concept or whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've tried only Oculus stuff, and it's pretty awesome. And but I've heard that the
you haven't
Sony
tried
ones,
Tilt Brush?
No, I haven't tried any of that stuff.
Oh fuck, you would love fucking. You haven't tried Tilt Brush, dude? You need to like fucking.
That's where you paint. That's where the guy was like painting like the Little Mermaid in that video, right?
Yeah, you can paint any sort of like make any sort of like crazy shit. You would definitely. It'd be interesting to see, people who can draw, like what they can like do with that thing. It's definitely freaking amazing. That have you ever heard of that Sparth dude?
Yeah, Sparth is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got he's done a couple of things in there, and it's like he's painted some fucking just absolutely amazing like concept stuff where it's like just looks fucking sick as hell. It's like I can't draw, so it's like it's fun for me to like fuck around in, but
you used to draw. That's when you started these everydays, right? It used to be drawings, right?
Yeah, but they weren't. I mean, they were shitty. So
yeah, I heard that the Sony, the PlayStation one, the VR for PlayStation is insanely good. That's the one everybody that like is really into this stuff is telling me about. Yeah,
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, that's the one.
I've heard the exact opposite of that. That the
really?
resolution of the screen is like, man, the like tracking is kind of smeh.
Damn.
Too. I don't know.
Smeh.
I haven't tried it, but I've heard actually the opposite. So I don't know.
Fucking liars. No, I have to try it out. I get like sick from it sometimes if I sit for too long or if there's too much movement. So
what's the last one you tried though?
I don't know. I was working on a game with Ready at Dawn. I don't know if I can talk. I think I can because it's out now. It's like it's called Lone Echo. I think it's called now. It changed. It used to be a different name, but and I think they were using like
a DK2 or something?
Something like that. I can't remember.
How long ago was it?
It was sometime last year. So like maybe like, I don't know, like 6 or 8 months ago maybe. or not last year. Well, I'm thinking it's already
The year
2017.
before?
No, it was this year. It was just early this year, so it was like, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago. So
Could have been a rift, but
I just hate you can see the pixels and stuff. It kind of
yeah,
kills it
that
for me.
was.
So yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely it's got room to get better, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Maxim Zeskov's really been telling me to get on that stuff though, because he's all about it. Have you seen his like experiments he's been making with the VR stuff that he's doing, like those environments and stuff, those badass
No,
like things? You know what I'm
no,
talking about, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that Russian dude.
yeah. It's
I don't know if he's Russian. I have no idea
he
when
is.
that
Yeah,
shit.
he's from Russia. Yeah, actually, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But he's been doing these really awesome rooms, and he was telling me that he's gone on and done like his films. You know, like we all know his films.
Sure.
But then like he feels like super just bummed after he's done with them because he just, I don't know. You know how it is when you make something, you put a lot of time and effort. But he said that now making the things that he has now, which is making like these experiential environments that you can
Sure.
just sit in, he said it's way more rewarding for him. He just sits in there and kind of just trips out and has fun with them. So
Sure.
yeah, it's pretty
That's
cool.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
no,
gets
I
into it,
think
so.
I think there's definitely, I mean, especially with the video cards getting stronger and like some of the shit. Have you seen that Atom Unity demo? Short
Yeah,
film?
yeah, that was cool, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
It's
nuts
just
when you
like
have people that actually know what they're doing, making something. It was
yeah,
visually
it's like
insane looking. Yeah,
just the fact that that's like real time. It's just like, oh my God, that's just like fucking mind boggling. Like
yeah,
they're getting pretty freaking ridiculous with what you can do real time.
yeah. It's awesome. It's really cool. It's cool to see just that growth of how everybody's like really progressing in that. That's one thing I really wanted to bring to Learn Squared is to have somebody teach us Unreal and Unity, both of them, because I feel like they're both quite interesting too. So
Sure, yeah, that'd be a great course.
that baby holder, aka football stadium. You're making the football stadium right now
I
with
am.
the boner parking lot out in the back. Good questions are coming in. Let's see. How does he separate the 4 subdivisions at the top of the square and extrude individually? Somebody's asking that.
What's
Imagine.
up?
Question is, how do you separate the 4 subdivisions of the top of the square and extrude individually?
How do you separate the force divisions to top and extrude individually?
Are you talking about maybe they optimize, like you're using optimize? Maybe it was like a triangle, then you optimized the geo and then extruded it?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Sorry. If it comes back up, I'll try to answer it. It's a bummer because there's like a little bit of a delay, and you're so fast. So by the time that big questions come in, you're already like building another like Trump Tower. So okay. Let's see. Another question is, why are you not streaming anymore? So
I'm really bad at that. It just for some reason does not. Part of it is that I rarely do the entire thing at once. That's part of it, but part of it is just me being lazy. It's probably the better, more correct answer.
You're pretty inclusive with everybody, and you share, like, don't you share all your files and everything as well with everybody, and you just give that stuff away because after you made it, you're just kind of done with it?
Yeah, well, not all the like everyday project files.
Yeah.
But yeah, I share a lot of the other stuff. It's more so just, I don't know. I honestly don't really have like a good answer why I don't do that other than pure laziness.
You've created quite a phenomenon, though.
I feel like it also, well, I guess I shouldn't fully say that. The times where I have, I feel like maybe I just haven't done it enough, but I'm like sort of aware that that people are watching me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of like changes how I work.
Yeah, same.
It makes me a little like less likely to sit there and like fuck with something over and over.
Yeah.
I think it like tends to make me do maybe work a little safer if that makes sense. Like into do things that I know just because I know it's like, oh, okay, like people are like looking at what I'm doing. I'm not gonna like sit and fucking struggle with this, whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Um,
So it's like this. This is something. The other thing is there's certain things where I can't like I can mindlessly model like this and talk at the same time. There's a lot of things I can't do. Like
yeah,
there's a lot of things where it's like, okay, I can't sit and like talk while I'm doing that, or it'll be like, what the fuck am I doing? I have to like
yeah.
think a little more.
Sure, use your mind and not go in
Yeah,
autoplay. So
this is just kind of like I can just mindlessly extract and do this stupid little, same, make these little shapes.
sure. This is kind of like you've been doing this for a while, so it just kind of you roll with it. So,
Sure.
how do you feel about like there's a lot of people that are obviously influenced by you, and they'll simply take like some of your project files and then change the lighting or something, then post it up as their own. What do you think of that? Like, what's your thoughts on that in regards to just like art and originality and individuality and all that kind of stuff? What's your thoughts on that stuff?
I mean, I think if you're doing something like that, it doesn't really like make me mad. Or people posting stuff like I see it. It seems like there's certain people who like, or more people who will like uh, be a little. I don't want to use the term sensitive, but more particular about how their art is used or where it's used or what it's used for.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, like I just don't like after I put something out there, it doesn't really like I don't really care how people use it beyond that.
Sure. Do you think
Like,
that'll change and evolve, or are you going to always kind of stay like that? And is that part of what keeps you kind of pure with your intentions on things?
honestly, it's not like a like conscious choice by me. It doesn't feel like it just feels like when I put something out there, then it's kind of like it's its own thing. Like it doesn't feel like it's mine. Like I'll with the VJ clips, a lot of times I've seen them like being used live in places,
Sure.
many times.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like even knowing that it's like, okay, the person who's putting that clip there, they're definitely getting paid for that. Like there's no way that person who's playing that clip is not getting paid right now.
Sure.
But it just does not bother me. Like it's just sort of.
It's cool though. It's good. I mean, it's kind of it's cool to hear too, because I think that's kind of a secret, being humbled by the fact that you're just kind of creating stuff as you go, and it's just kind of what you.
I think part of it is, yeah. I don't. It's not, and I don't like when people are a little, feel more ownership over their work and like don't want it being used for this or that. It doesn't look at. I don't like look at them like, oh, why do you care or this or that? That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It's more just like, I don't know. For some reason, I don't care. It seems unusual, even to me, kind of.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't. It doesn't like bother me. So if somebody were like take this or that and just change the lighting and post it online, it wouldn't really like.
I guess people all know it's yours, huh? Yeah.
Well, even if they don't know that it's mine, it's kind of like that person's not really getting anything out of that.
What if they take your work and then they get a job from it? What are your thoughts on that? Like your dream job, and you're like, what the shit? Like they work on like a Cher music video, which I know is like that's your jam,
If somebody, to be honest, first off, I probably wouldn't know about it. So that's probably the biggest thing. If I knew about it, it's hard for me to imagine this because I don't really feel like I have like this like dream job.
What's a dream job to you? Like, what's a dream project for you? Is it doing an everyday, and is that it? Or do you not want to have that be a job?
No, I mean, there's definitely like things that like a Star Wars movie or something like that. I think it'd be
Professional
cool to like,
tickling.
sure, I think it'd be like cool to like work on something like that. But I mean, I don't know.
You want to
Part of
work
me
on
is,
Star Wars? Is that what you want to do?
nah. I feel like with stuff like that, I want to like be able to say I work on Star Wars, but I don't maybe, you know what I mean? Like I would like to have that on my resume, but maybe I probably wouldn't like the actual work of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Maybe.
hard to
I don't,
tell.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to tell, and I think one thing too is like when I go watch like a movie or something, like even let's say like when I watched Rogue One, for example, like I was thinking to myself, it's nice just to enjoy a film without having to work on it too, because when you work on a film, it totally takes away a lot of the magic from it. Because you know all the nuances and like, oh, that time that person sent me that email, or I got that one note, or whatever it could be, you know, and it kind
Sure.
of it takes away some of like the I don't know, the rawness of just being a consumer, I guess, you know. So,
Sure, sure.
but
No, I don't know. It doesn't, I guess, short answer, when I see people using stuff, it's like I've given people permission to use stuff. So it doesn't, somebody just sent me just today, like a vinyl. They had like a album printed and they used some of the like everydays for like a album art for it, and they like mailed me like a vinyl thing, which unfortunately I don't really have a
you don't have a
player.
caveman vinyl machine. Yeah,
No, but it's like that's cool. Like I don't know, that's it's if I would have been like, no, you can't use it, like then I wouldn't have that. I think the other thing is I spent before this, prior to just like releasing stuff for free, I would enter films into film festivals. And I would pay, you know, hundreds of dollars sometimes to be like, hey, can you play my film in front of people?
yeah. I love
And
how it's changed now. Yeah,
99% of the time, it'd be like, thank you for the money.
yeah,
No, we will not play your film. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah,
I appreciate your interest, though.
yeah.
And so it's kind of like, oh, people will just, other people will take it and play it for other people for free for me. It's like, oh, that's sounds good. That's what I wanted. That's what I was paying for before.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
To,
good. That's
to
a good way
try
of
and
looking
get
at it.
people to see it.
Yeah. Have you always had this kind of outlook on things? I think there's a weird thing that happens. There's a possessiveness that happens to things, you know. So I find that there's a lot of I guess you could say like artistic theft that exists. I think it's fine if it's harmless and it's done for like education and practice purposes, but because a lot of times people go, "Ah, you're just using that thing," but I think it's fine. But when the problem I have is when it becomes unethical and people go and make money or they get paid off of something, that really drives me nuts because it's like, oh, well, what the hell then? You know, like you're basically cheating the system. And I guess that's like maybe the problem is it's just, you know, the existence of money that exists in this thing, and it's kind of adds to the frustration of things. But I don't know. That's my only quarrel. I'm kind of similar. I think that the way that you approach things is refreshing and it's different and unique because it's non-possessive, and I think that really helps. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it doesn't for me come from this like hippie like free love type thing. Like there's been companies that, you know, come to me and it's like, oh, you know, we want to like license the clips, and it's like I will gladly take your money. Like I will absolutely take that money. Like it's not above that. It's more just like if somebody comes to me and it's like they don't have money, then it's like, okay, well, if I say no to you, like I'm not really like gaining anything, or they're gonna make like, you know, a small amount of money off of it, or they're just some like passion project or thing, this or that. It's kind of, it doesn't feel like it hurts me to not to say no,
Hmm.
whereas it kind of feels like it could potentially help me if somebody else sees that and it's like, hey, who's this, and blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough.
No,
It's
it's an interesting thing to navigate, and there's a lot of, you know, up and comers that are interested in this kind of stuff. I think it's important to talk about and discuss. I think that you have a completely different approach. I mean, I know that even like Bradley, like G Monk, we're talking like, like it's interesting to see all the different approaches we all have, in our careers. I think you definitely have like the most selfless approach though, which is really cool. Just being able to kind of just be like, yeah, whatever, here's the work, and continue on and stuff. But you also live in like, I don't know, it costs like what, $5 a month?
No, yeah,
I come out to San Diego and had to afford that. It's ridiculous.
No, that's honestly, you joke, but that is a big part of it, and that's something that I think people don't talk. Why the fuck with these cylinders is this doing this?
Yeah, it's not
I'm doing something fucking stupid. I don't know what it is though.
Is it not splitting the when you do the cut or something, or what?
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. That it's like I'm creating this preserve groups. Okay, that looks right. There we go. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. No, I think that's a valid point. Where I live is much cheaper, and I think people maybe don't look at the cost of like where they're living and think about that.
Yeah.
And yes, I am extremely lucky that I can like work from anywhere for, LA clients. There's a lot of jobs you just literally can't do. That's extremely, I'm very, blessed to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like controlling your costs of things is something that maybe advice that I don't hear people who are a little older giving younger people in terms of it because it really does factor into everything. The biggest thing it factors into time is if you're super strapped, you can't say no to projects. You have to do them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not like, oh, you know what? I kind of want to turn this down and focus on learning this or that. It's like, no, I have to fucking do that because I've got a car payment and I've got this or that. So it's sort of, I don't know. I feel like
it adds a lot of complexities to your decision making. Yeah.
It removes a lot of your decision making because you already made the decision of whether you're going to take that job when you bought that car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
the
hustle has to change completely, and it changes the game and how you interact with things too. So
exactly,
the selflessness of things exists because of a choice of a lifestyle too. So it's like, yeah,
it's just I think some people don't recognize that as being like when they buy certain things that thing that they're buying is going to directly affect how much time they have to do things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it costs X amount of dollars. Well, it's like, really, it costs X amount of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
And it's like, if you really want that thing, then it's worth it to you. But I think a lot of people maybe sometimes don't fully factor in, like, the cost of living and this and that, how much that's going to really affect how much time they have.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's really quite complex, I think it's also part of like the hustle too. So like I grew up personally like just a little impoverished, just like single mom, food stamps and all that stuff. So one of my big goals, I know it's something that you think is stupid because it's pretty funny to you, but one of my big goals was to own like a rad car because I really love cars and stuff. So
I don't think that's stupid at all. I think if that's something you're interested in, then I think you should definitely do that. Like that's a very conscious choice that you've made.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's
like
also, yeah, I mean, it's
a goal that you had. Like, that's totally different. Like, if you really care about what you are, it's more just, like, mindlessly, like, spending money on things or just not thinking about how that decision is actually going to affect your time.
No, you have to. My wife is a financial consultant, so she's really smart with numbers and the finances of things, and she helps run all that stuff. So, but buying a car is the stupidest thing you could do because it's just like it loses money no matter what it is, and financially, it's just a really immature move.
Well,
but
I mean,
some cars do increase. Like my NSX actually has gone up in value because they've been more sought after because it's a classic car now. which is cool. But then the engine blew out, and then it cost me so much money. So I'm like, yeah. So it's just, but at the same time, what I would say to add a different angle to all this stuff is that it just makes me hustle harder. Really does.
Sure.
And it makes me, like with like Learn Squared, for example, I'm like, okay, we got to figure out like, ways of not sacrificing the quality of things, but also making something that appeals to everybody and making something solid and strong and all these things to attract a bigger audience so that people can get more education, but at the same time I can go off and afford these different, whatever it is, or whatever things I want to get into and stuff. I think the big thing is getting too lost in that stuff though, and it could be really tricky, really tricky quite quickly too, because then you're just kind of getting lost in the everyday of just kind of putting, the drudgery of things, so just to kind of pay the bills.
Sure.
Just like
I think it's like anything. It's a balance of, if that's something that's like legitimately important to you, that it's like, okay, I'm super interested in this thing, then that's a choice you're making. I think it's I don't like look down upon that at all. Like,
it's
and
all
honestly,
passion,
cars, I mean, cars devalue, but I mean, compared to like electronics, stuff like that, they definitely hold their value better than certain things. So it's
yeah, I know. We just talked about it. I just bought 3 new 1080s to replace my 980s in my machine, and I'm sure like the video is going to come out with something like the 1040, and that's like triple times faster. And it's going to happen like tomorrow.
I think they are coming out with the 1080 Ti's at CES in like a week or so.
I know they got some crazy stuff hidden, those bastards that keep they just drip it out. So, oh well. Let's see, another question. A bit early to ask. You attending A.M.A?
Wait. I've got a question because I wanted to like ask you about some of the crap you've been working on.
Sure.
That Lost Boy film.
Mm-hmm.
Which was freaking sweet.
Thank you.
How did you feel about that whole process and reception? Because that's kind of probably one of the like bigger, I would say, I mean, I don't know, maybe you would agree or not agree, one of the like bigger projects you've done.
Yeah. I mean, it's the biggest personal project I've ever done. That's for sure. Yeah. The Lost Boy film, it was, it was a long process. It was a year and a half total, I think, working on it. You know how these projects go, a year and a half. Alongside of this, I'm working on like a dozen different client jobs and other things, and developing and building Learn Squared and all these other things, endeavors and stuff. So, but no, it was crazy, man. I learned so much. I think that, I think before this...
What was the biggest thing you learned from it?
Just to shut my stupid mouth and just go do the work,
In terms of what?
Well, a lot of times before this, I would be like, oh, that film sucks, or I'd be hypercritical on other people's work without really understanding just how complex and difficult it is to actually make anything. So minding my hypercritical nature was really good, and I think that was really helpful. It was very humbling, and the process itself, I mean, it's a very long process. We were teaming up with the team at Post Panic, and they have their own rhythm and flow, and this isn't like a client job for them. It's another passion project basically for them as well. So just being patient, waiting for dailies to come in, and then just the constant iterative revisions and reviewing dailies, and constantly getting our point across. Because when you're making something quite new and different, a lot of times people go to their muscle memory of what they've seen and expect, so, but you have to constantly like, no, this isn't that, it's actually this. So it's not that thing, it's this thing. And so it's quite complex. But it was cool. Like the reception was quite interesting. It was cool. Like it was very polar, which I thought was cool. I'd rather have people love or hate the work that I do. That's always what I would like. I don't want people to be like, "That was cool," Like I want it to be like either you like it or you don't. So that was cool. But yeah, it was a long process. There were some really amazing moments and some really shitty moments. So it was like everything in between that I think really added up to like just a really interesting experience, And I think at the end of the day, doing this kind of stuff is all about doing it with those that you love or admire and enjoy their presence, because like no matter what it is, it's going to be a fight and a battle, and you want to do those with like people that you're close with, you know. So,
Sure. Did it make you want, because you've always kind of, to me, it seemed like sort of are working towards, and maybe this is not true, but working towards wanting to like direct a feature.
yeah.
Did it make you rethink that goal, or is that still like, did it make you want to do that even more, or what do you?
Honestly, I don't like, it's pretty grueling, you know, like it's pretty, the process of it is pretty grueling. And I
Sure.
don't even know, like let's say Gareth Edwards, when he like was making Rogue One, and then he went off and did it, and then Disney comes back.
What has he directed before that?
He did a film called Monsters, which I still haven't watched, and then he did Godzilla. So I think, not to take anything away from him, I don't know him, and I don't know this process, but what I see is kind of similar to what was happening with Fox back when like Fincher was starting out. Like the executives basically hire a director that has an eye and a talent, but then doesn't have the clout and power to push back on them. So they're basically dictating them basically, and being able to kind of control their vision through like,
Sure.
it's just a part of the process, you know. So
Did you saw Rogue One?
yeah, I did, yeah.
Don't tell me anything about it,
It's
but did you
beautiful.
like it? Like nothing about it.
No, it's just a visually beautiful film, so I enjoyed it. Yeah, from the visual
Sure.
standpoint, go see it. I mean, it's a film that
Oh
you
yeah,
should
I'll
probably
definitely see
in
it.
the
I
theater.
just
So yeah,
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I'll absolutely see it. I just haven't gotten a chance to go yet. What um how did you like it compared to Force Awakens?
I didn't really care for Force Awakens myself, so I mean, there was a lot of things. I don't know, like for me, it's there's certain films that just aren't made for me. I think, and I've come to terms with that, and I'm not taking offense to it. And it is what it is. I mean, I've had a lot of friends that worked on it, and I think that there's a lot of really cool things going on in that film. It's just for me, it's just not my cup of tea, and I think it was just had some weird things going on, and it had some bits that were just like, yes, Star Wars is back, and then it just fell apart for me. So,
Sure.
but I don't know. I've kind of gotten over caring about that stuff, really, to be completely honest. So I think going off and making my own like short film with Anthony and Post Panic, I think has really taught me a lot about just humility and the process of making things and how difficult it is. I don't know how difficult it must be to go off and go and make something that big, part of a franchise that huge, and not have to be like doing all this fan service all the time, and it just gets really ridiculous, you know. So
Oh, there's so many like,
it's
yeah,
crazy.
you're talking about like just a fucking $1 billion, thing. It's like it's not like George Lucas just was like, here you go. We'll
Yeah,
just, have fun making Star Wars movies. It's like, no, they had to pay him fucking billions of dollars, and they have
yeah.
shareholders to answer to, and like, I mean, there's so much, like, it's almost mind-boggling that any, sequels are made at all in some respects,
It's
just because.
amazing that anything is made at all, you know, because of the sheer level of complexity. Like I just got done working on, well, not just, but I was working on the Assassin's Creed film, and that alone was just the process of just setting up the type for the title sequence and stuff, and doing like they're doing like a bunch of screen tests on anti-aliasing for the type. Because when they make a film, they'll go and test it on like the world's worst shitty screen to just make sure everything looks good, and then they'll test it on like
Sure.
a really good high fidelity one.
That's interesting.
And man, it was just that one thing alone, which is a very small piece of a bigger pie, is like, oh, it was just so gnarly. So I mean,
See, I would never think they would like do that, like
oh, it's the
with the
levels, man, the levels.
anti-aliasing of the like text. But
Yeah.
I guess if it's real, is it small?
Well, it's not really that small. I had to actually set the type quite like 10 points over when I expected it was going to be. So it's quite interesting, you know. So, but I mean, that's just
So
one thing of many, you know. So,
wait, what did you do on that movie?
for the
I
Assassin's
saw you
Creed,
post some stuff, but it seemed like it was more like UI type stuff.
yeah, I didn't really talk about doing the title or the main on end, the setting the type for it, because it just was type, you know. So I did a bunch of type explorations and stuff. But Justin's, I really, if you're not familiar, have you seen Snowtown Murders, You seen that
I
film?
have not.
It's Justin's first film. That's the guy who directed Assassin's Creed. He's really cool. He was awesome. He was really great to work with. But he had he wanted something just simple and clean, and I can't argue with that because I think simple and clean is great. So we just ended up using, I think the end was like Baskerville, like an old school cut too, like an old 1800s.
That's a like Seraphon, isn't it?
Yes, it's an old Seraphon. It's like one of the originals. And I mean, out of all the ones I gave him, that's the one he wanted. So I was like, well, it's your film, So we had a lot of fun working together on that together, though. It was a very enjoyable process with him because he just kind of let me do my thing and he trusted my instincts and stuff. And actually, it was a lot of fun after doing this. It was myself designing and directing these things. And then Ryan Cashman, who I worked on Total Recall with a long time ago, who kind of started and came up together. I hit him up and I was like, hey, I have this project if you're interested, and let's go do another film together. So we had a lot of fun building that out together. And it's really cool watching you build these things. It's quite relaxing, actually. I could just sit here and watch you do this all the time. But no, I mean, it was cool. And Ryan and I, we just smashed it out and did a ton of shots. And then I went down to my friend Kevin's house, and Kevin he was my DOP for like the off-title sequence and a bunch of things, and so he shot this live footage of the screens that then went into the film. So it was kind of cool, like seeing all the footage that we shot going into the film because it has a lot of screen time, the graphics and stuff. So
nice.
Yeah, but there's a lot of it's that's my bread and butter kind of stuff, which is like the graphics and all that kind of stuff. So
UI craziness.
Mm-hmm, yeah, information data stuff. So, but it was a lot of fun. It was a really fun, creative experience. So, yeah.
Nice. That's sweet. I'll have to see that. I probably wouldn't have been one that I would have seen.
Doesn't seem to be a common like popular film. A lot of people are just kind of hating on it, which is, I mean, it is what it is, So it's Justin's like first big film. He did a film before this called Macbeth with which I think started all this. He did a film with Michael Fassbender with Macbeth, which is stunning film. It's hard to get through though because it's Shakespearean, but it's really beautiful and really it's like full on Shakespeare. Like they don't.
Sure.
It's like it's all done.
Don't change the language or anything.
No, they don't at all, which is pretty I think thuggish.
It's definitely a risk. You're definitely gotta know you're gonna alienate like literally most people are just gonna be like, what the fuck this?
It's beautiful though. If you're curious and haven't seen like his film.
Dude, I'm so fucking far behind on movies. My list of movies that I need to see is just like embarrassing, like so bad.
It's cool. You text me. You're like, dude, I just saw that film. I'm like, yeah, awesome. Because you just recently started getting into Denny's work, which is really cool. Like, have you seen A.M.A yet? Because we've been talking about.
No, I downloaded it. I couldn't find it.
You got Sicario. You saw Sicario, and then you watched Arrival.
Yeah.
What other film of his that you've seen? Did you see Passengers yet?
Nope, just those two.
Okay, cool. So those two, yeah. Those are really...
both of which I was just like, holy fuck. Arrival especially.
Yeah, I really loved Arrival. I had a...
Motherfucker. So good.
It's like really simple, clean, smart sci-fi, which I really love. It's kind of some of my favorite sci-fi is like Contact and stuff. Like, it just...
That's 100%. Like, I like movies like that take... and like very seriously and as realistic as possible for a movie about aliens coming, try and imagine what would happen, like what would this actually look like, and like especially what I like the most about it is the like more mundane pieces of it, like the communication. Obviously in that sense, it's like, how would we communicate with aliens? Like that's something that would be a huge problem.
Yeah.
That's not just like that could potentially be a huge sort of stumbling block. Like, I don't know.
It's cool, man. I got his stories. I actually started listening to I think his name's Doug Chang, the guy that wrote the original short story, and I've listened to the short story or parts of it from that, and I gotta say that this is a case where the script the screenwriter. I've actually listened to his podcast. Actually, he did a podcast on the Jeff Goldsmith's podcast. The screenwriter, I forget his name, but he actually did a better job than I think the original was. I think he complemented it in many ways in a much better capacity. Like the original short story, like it didn't have the ships. They kind of were communicating to humans through like these screens. So it was kind of like not even in the same realm of just bizarre coolness. There's a lot of things that are completely different, and she's kind of an asshole. Like you just kind of don't have empathy for her, so it's kind of like, it doesn't really fit well. So it's kind of
interesting.
Yeah.
I really fucking like that movie.
It was, I'm glad you liked it. I mean, I don't know that film, and I've recently watched Nocturnal Animals, which is Tim Ford, I believe his name, and that I really like that a lot. Full of like crazy, surreal, suggestive imagery, and upon the first watch, you're like, "What the hell am I watching?" But the second watch, after like my wife and I ended up talking, we watched it together. We ended up talking about it for just hours after that, and it was just all our theories and thoughts, which I really love that about. It's a film goer's film basically, and that's one of my favorite things. Is like after a movie, you go and sit and talk about it and try to figure out like, well, what do you think that was, and that, and this and that, So that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
I'll have to watch that one.
It's really weird though. It's like it's got Jake Gyllenhaal, so like, and it also has Amy Adams, I believe that's her name, the girl from Arrival. She's in it too.
Okay.
So,
nice.
And the score is incredibly good. So, but you got to be ready for it. Just like I told you about Enemy. Like Enemy is really insanely good, but you got to be ready for it. And Enemy is full of
coming at your balls.
It's coming at your balls, trying to chomp at them, just fucking gnawing at them. So, yeah. Okay, questions. Let's see. Here we go. Oops. Let's see. Question for Ash. When you deliver visual assets to a director, the Prometheus project, for example, in what form did you do it? Did you just get the final images for reference, or also the project films, etc.? So yeah, every project is completely different, as we talked about earlier. Every director has a completely different process. The production designer, whoever you're working with, if you're not working with the director, has a completely different process. So for Prometheus itself, Prometheus is such an old project. I mean, it's like one of my first things I ever worked on in regards to this stuff. For that, I think, from I remember, it was they sent over a brief, and then a bunch of artists at Prologue, and myself included, this was when I was freelancing, put together a bunch of designs and concepts, and then they had stills of David, Michael Fassbender, standing on the set. They had already captured the footage. Then they told us what it was and what needed to be there, so we photo and posed. Basically, I used Photoshop to put all the designs in there, and then kicked that off to them. Then those designs got approved. Basically, the designs I made got kind of jumbled together with, I believe, Dong Ho and Ilya's work. I can't remember. It's been such a long time. But combining those all together with them, and then we did a second round of revisions to their notes, and then after that, I kind of left the project. I was in the middle of something else, so I ended up sending all my Adobe Illustrator asset files and Photoshop files, everything they took. So, and that's just kind of a different situation for that one. So it all varies, though. It all kind of changes based on the client, though. So everything is different. So some like it, some want certain things, some don't. So it just depends, and you need to have that dialogue instantly before you start working on things. So hopefully that answered your question.
What would you, if you could work on with any director, what would you work with? That Dennis dude?
Yeah, I may or may not be working on something with him, possibly.
Ooh.
So, yeah. I really like his approach. I've watched a lot of his interviews, and I just like his approach to things. I feel like he's quite holistic about things, like his approach to just the stories that he likes to tell. What are you doing, grouping stuff?
Yeah, just grouping stuff for
in the null.
Yeah, just so I can change where, sort of populate the scene and make size things based on change where the like axis is. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And so you can keep it all like everything kind of set to that. So, all right, that makes sense. No, I think Denny would be really cool. I mean, obviously Ridley Scott, and of course, I've worked on a couple of his stuff, but not like I really want to work with these people, like directly with them. So I
Sure.
want to like hang out with them and like
Not like through
like an
people.
email and shit. I don't like working through people, honestly. I'd rather like that's the thing I loved about with Justin for Assassin's Creed. Like it was just I would be able to just hang out and talk with him on
Sure.
via Skype. I mean, this was when he was in the UK, but when I was in the UK, I actually was doing like a speaking event. I was able to just go and hang out with him, which I just thought was awesome. And talk to him because Snowtown Murders is just incredibly good film. It's heavy as fuck, like really heavy film, but it's brilliantly done. And so I just loved just hanging out with him because I'm like, wow, you've made fire, like you've captured lightning, man. Like,
Sure.
that's awesome. So I guess so. I got a chance to work with Justin. I think people are going to criticize and they're going to hate his film Assassin's Creed, but at the same time, it's like it's an action-based film off of a video game franchise. Like, it's very difficult. The concept of Assassin's Creed is really quite cool. It's just, it's a tough film to make, I think. So,
Sure.
But yeah, it'd be cool to work with, and I mean, it'd be cool to work on some Star Wars stuff, of course. But that's such a coveted thing, and actually, I worked on a little bit of very early on Force Awakens, but then like there was just so much ego in behind it, and then I ended up just getting like kicked out of it. So it's like, yeah, there's just I don't know, that's quite sad. There's a lot of bad things that go on behind the covers of things. So, question: can Mike share some insight on his own time-saving productivity tips? Yeah, piss on a dog and tell your family to eat shit.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's where I would go back to, in terms of a real, actual time-saving thing is spend less money.
Yeah, that's smart, man. That's actually like incredibly smart.
Less money you're spending, the more time you'll have.
Yeah, so if you can live
live well within your means, the more
awesome.
money that you'll have to be able to, the more time you will have because you can say no to things. If you're strapped, then you can't say no to things. But so I would say that's in terms of a real, actual, non-piss on a dog advice. I mean, that's good too. If you've already done the pissing on a dog,
that's
then you're
step
kind
one.
of like to level 2. Level 2 is watch your spending.
Yeah. No, definitely. Let's see. Question that keeps coming up. Thank you for this question. Let's see. What's the commercial work that you do? I'll just read the question. What's the commercial work he does? I know he does some visuals for some artists, but what else and where can we see them? This is probably a common question you get, right? Like, show me something other than everydays. Yeah.
You won't be able to see this stuff for a long time.
This is like the gnarly stuff you've been working on for a bit now?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's in these NDAs, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I don't know what's like.
You guys will eventually see it then. So
yeah,
you've made quite a transition and a change.
See it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's. I don't know. There's like fully like transition. It's just certain things kind of happen to have come in this year that were not the type of things that I've worked on before.
Yeah.
Like I'm still like, like working on.
Do you like it?
Concert visuals and stuff. Yeah, no, it's definitely been interesting. It's an interesting, just on a number of levels in terms of like.
You're working with some awesome dudes though. That really helps.
So. Yeah, for sure. All the people that I've worked with are super super easygoing. Honestly, that's the biggest thing. Like I work on the shittiest project. As long as I would much rather work on the shittiest, most boring ass corporate pile of shit than with cool people who are like easy to get along with and don't make the project stressful and shitty, rather than work on some Star Wars whatever bullshit cool project that you're working with assholes and it's this stressful clusterfuck.
Yeah, no, it's
That
100%
that
true.
is
That it's all about the people. It really is at
by
the end of the
far
day.
the biggest thing to me. Like I don't so much bigger than the like actual work is like working with people who are
Yeah, you have such
not
a
gonna
different
make it
approach. So you have such a different
stressful.
approach. Yeah. Have you seen Under the Skin? Somebody's asking about that. I love that film. It was
No,
very
are
different and very
you
weird. I
kidding
like
me?
weird stuff though, so yeah.
The list of things, that's
I
so many
mean, if you want to
movies.
see Scarlett
So
Johansson like fully nude,
just
there you go. She's fully naked. So it's really a very interesting film, though. I really love those kind of films because it just appeals to like a odd part of my brain. So I don't know.
yeah,
That's for me
I've
though.
heard that is a good one. I mean, yeah.
There's tons, I'm
I
sure. So
I'm definitely trying much harder, like to like make time to like watch stuff.
yeah, no,
Just be,
it's good
there's so
too.
many
It's
things
good too. Have you watched like Westworld? You've been kept keeping up with TV shows as
I
well, or
get. TV shows are easier because I have. There's a lot of times where I can carve out like an hour, but carving out like 2.5 hours in one night
yeah?
is so much harder. But
How old's your youngest? 1 year old now, still?
he'll be one like next week, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, super young. Yeah,
So
so
it's
it's
still
difficult.
like, yeah, it's still like hard to like, you know, get into something if you're he's could possibly get up or this or that or.
Yeah,
But regardless, no, yeah, we definitely watched Westworld, which was so fucking sweet. Did you watch it?
yeah. I started watching it. Yeah, recently. It was
What do you mean?
cool.
Oh, you didn't? You're not finished with it?
No, I just started recently. Like,
Oh,
it's hard for me to keep up with all that stuff too. It's like, um, I want to spend a certain amount of my day like learning, and then I'm really ridiculous because I like to take on like multiple client jobs at the same time because I'm a weirdo, and so like balancing all that stuff it becomes really quite complicated. So fitting that all in there, what I try to do is start and end my day with learning something,
sure,
and then but at the same time I really enjoy like the guilty pleasures of just consuming things because I think it also helps your creative artistic mind too. So
sure.
but yeah, it's interesting. I'm digging, like it's cool, and it's always cool to see like Raul and Patrick's work in the beginning. I thought
Oh
was
yeah,
just
it's so
beautiful. So
fucking sweet.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
just on that whole another level. So, question that's coming in. Hey, you said in an interview for some article website I saw once that you would sort of reconsider doing every day is when the 10-year mark arrives. What did you mean by that? And now that it's coming close, have you come to a conclusion?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good to think about. I mean, I'll probably keep doing them, but yeah, I think there's it's definitely worth, at least thinking of like, does this make sense or, should I tweak this? But there's so many like positives from it that it's hard to imagine not doing it.
Yeah,
It's just been so long.
Dynasty. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're gonna have so many of these things. I think the thing that people, at least from my perspective, that appeals to people is that you just kind of continue carrying on and doing it, and it's just the perseverance of just creating your own thing and kind of like just focusing on what you want to do and sharing that with people. I think is quite cool. So at least that's what I'm taking from it because it's really inspired so many people out there, so many people, huge following. So. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so that answers that question because that kept coming up. Let's see. Here's another question. What do you think about the tools defining a lack of style? Clearly, you have your own recognizable style, and lots of C4D Octane artists too. But then there are a lot of copycats who are using the same tools and they look the same. What's your opinion on that? Kind of touched that a little earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
He doesn't give a shit.
Nah, it's not. More like I have enough, trouble trying to fucking come up with my own shit. Much less worrying about like somebody else's shit.
Yeah.
I definitely don't have the like. I don't know. Time or energy. Like I'm struggle every day to like come up with something that's not a total pile of garbage, much less worry about, oh, what did this guy do with his thing? Like, I don't
it's good.
have the ability. I don't have that much. I don't have my shit so dialed in that I'm worried about your shit.
It's good.
So
it's good.
maybe when I get my shit dialed in enough, I can worry about other people's shit. But I'm not close to being there yet. So
yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, people are asking about that. So the Octane scatter, you just put everything into it. It's awesome. It generates like instances basically. People are asking about it. So throw your objects into it. It's awesome. It's pretty cool. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, that is just insane. Like how it feels like too good to be true. Like when I first saw that, and I just saw it not super recently, but probably like 6 months ago, and I was like, oh, what's this? And then I was like, oh my fucking Christ, you can put in just like a fucking retarded amount of geometry, and it's just like instant.
Yeah.
It was just like,
can you
it felt
adjust
like
the plane
this, like,
too, like where it sits? Can you like adjust?
You
Like
could
right
put
now
it
it's
on anything. You could just put it on anything. You just be like, okay, I want it on this sphere. Now I've got.
Cool. So you have like a fisheye fake.
Oh yeah, dude, you haven't used this? Yeah, it's
No.
like fucking insane. Like, so you could just, and that's the thing. The thing that makes it sweet is not so much that you can do that. Is so right now I have it set to like vertex. So here's the plane. So I could set this to surface. Now I have 1,000 instances of this. So now I have 23,000 instances of this.
That's crazy.
Like, you try and do that with like a cloner? No. Cinema 40 just crashed.
Yeah.
Cinema 40 just completely fucking, you destroyed it.
Yeah, that's
Start
awesome.
reboot your computer. Whereas this, you can like so quickly, like, you know.
You can randomize it too with like a seed or something of noise. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so you can like randomize the like scale of it. Yeah, you can like super quickly, and it's like the amount of like, so this is, you know, each one of these is pretty low poly, but if you times it by, you know, 16,000, that's a lot of fucking geometry in this scene right now. And if you did not have it through something like this, Octane scatter, you can kind of do the same thing. Instances with, you know, Arnold has something similar to that.
Arnold has something I've seen that they have this.
X particles, like, no, your Cinema 4D will fucking choke on that shit.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's basically just kind of taking one thing and then just moving it over, but it's now, instead of all that geometry, it's just an instance of it, which is really cool. People are all asking about it, so yeah, it's this Octane scatter. So
that's your fucking secret sauce right there.
Yeah, it's pretty rad that, because you set up like a landscape and then like instead of a plane and then set it to the landscape, so then it kind of bevels and you can have like San Francisco looking, so it elevates and stuff. That's pretty rad.
Yeah. So the other thing with this is there's like, it's so fast. So say you've got this here. The other thing here, let's just end this for a second. So if you go here, like, okay, I've got this, you know, just surface or whatever. It's so fast that it's like, unless you really need hair to like react to something, it's way faster for making like grass than actually using hair through the like thing. So it's like, okay, I can put this grass on here.
Who's that coughing?
Point it to this.
Nice.
And oops. So there you've got something with, you know, super quickly, and this is obviously not like you could, you know, make more than just one instance of grass here.
Sure.
But just making like something like this with like grass would be, with this mini, you know, grass.
Nuts. Yeah.
But art would be so fucking slow.
Yeah.
So this is like definitely a way to like, you know, another quicker way to like make grass. And yeah, then you can change this, you know, thing, do whatever you want with it. You could, okay, I want it to be, even just doing stuff like this, if you have to like I don't know, the hair thing to me is kind of a pain in the ass in some instances.
Yeah, I never played with
Just
it
being
because
able to
of
like
it.
change the like geo like this really quick.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can't do that with hair. It's like, okay, it's much finicky,
Yeah.
much more finicky.
Yeah, the Octane Scatter is the jam. Then that's awesome. And even if
That's
you want to just get something to
that's
get you close enough, that's cool. Yeah, patches, that's great.
yeah.
You've really embraced the DAS 3D thing. That's been kind of fun to watch you kind of get really deep into that stuff. How many the
It's such an
crazy angry
interesting
babies and stuff? It's so funny.
it's such an interesting
It's
program in
very
that it's
weird.
like yeah, like so geared towards this like fucking weirdo
Super
3D
weird.
porn shit.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It's like anytime you kind of are like embarrassed to like show it to people. It's like, oh, here's what I use. It's like, oh, really?
I got over that when Mache was showing me because Mache is such a badass, and so when
Are
he was
you?
showing me like how like crazy stuff that he was making, I'm like, oh, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me, you know. Like I was just like, who
It's
cares,
just,
you know? It's
oh,
just a tool.
you're into that kind of thing,
No,
like.
he was making like he was
No, no,
making
I know
crazy
what you.
props and
No, I'm just saying like that's somebody like if you show it to them, it's
oh
kind of
yeah,
like,
it's like what's wrong with you? Yeah.
you're, you're into this kind of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No,
it,
really, it's this like crazy,
it
sweet program for like,
I
you
don't know.
know.
It works good. And, like, yeah, I've had some people like, "Oh, you suck because you use that." I'm like, okay. Like, meanwhile,
I
I'm
think,
making something like while you're being a bitch about it. So, yeah,
yeah, no, I think it's super like for like posing people or getting people or like concept stuff. Like, yeah, it's definitely like super super fucking fast and I don't know what else you would use other than that. You know what I mean?
yeah. No,
I
it's
mean, obviously you can do it in anything, but not that quickly.
yeah, no, it's yeah. I don't know. It's like I've had like some epiphanies when it comes to art, and I don't know. Maybe it's just my own growth. It's like I could sit around and like learn how to like draw in a sketchbook all day and do all that and cool, um, or like I can go and like just go crazy and build something out and build like you're showing here, like build a city or something. You know, like I don't
Well,
know. I
that's
guess it just depends on like what your end goal is. I guess so.
sure.
Yeah.
I think it does depend on that, and it depends on how much you want to use the newest tools. If you're like somebody who really wants to like I'm going to build a character from scratch, well
Yeah,
that's great
it's
if you
cool.
want to build a character. But if you want to do something that's maybe a little like it's just different because
Yeah,
these tools you can ignore these tools and like okay, I want to like, play the drum set. Well, you can play the drum set and that's cool, but if you want to like create an entire song by yourself in an hour, well, you can't do that with a drum set. You need a computer and you need like, you know what I mean? Like it's just if that type of tool doesn't appeal to you, then that's fine, but it's I don't know. It's
yeah,
really kind of a matter of preference of what are you trying to do.
yeah. Exactly. I think how you're talking about embracing the fact that there is differences, and it's like okay, who cares? Like if people are different, then like let them be. It's just not a big
There's no
deal.
like
So
right or wrong answer. Like if you don't want to use these tools, then that's fine. Like you're not going to be able to work as quickly in on certain things because you're not using like the latest sort of technology.
yeah, they're just
See,
tools too. At the end of the
they're
day,
just
like
tools.
when you watch that
It's
Atom thing that we were talking about from Unreal Engine, it's like, man, half the stuff I make in cinema doesn't even look that good, and I'm like, how the hell are they doing that? But it's just tools. So it's like,
yeah, it's kind of if those tools don't appeal to you or you want to like do something different. I mean, that's totally fine, but it's sort of like knocking the like tools like that's I don't that
yeah,
seems kind of dumb to me.
single cell
It's just
organism, caveman
it's
style.
just it's just a tool.
Yeah, exactly. How many do you have? Are you have your net render set up right now? Are you using your other computers?
Yeah, there's
Okay, nice,
five
nice.
other five other cards.
Power Blast,
Burn.
awesome. Put a P at the end of the other one. Yeah, there you go.
burned out a card recently, so I've
Really?
gotta, yeah.
How'd
Well,
that?
so okay, so here's the thing, and maybe somebody who's smarter than me can tell me why this isn't the case. So
Hmm.
you just bought those 1080
Yeah.
1080s.
I can't even get him to work, so yeah,
It's not so
driver
much
errors.
it's not so much that. So to me, it seems like the most cost-effective card is still a 780 Ti.
Yeah, 780
The
Ti.
980 Ti's are only about 25% faster than the 780 Ti's, but they
Mm.
cost like 3 times as much.
Yeah. Raul Marx actually, he uses 780s right now because he's waiting for like the next big bump, So I thought
So
the
it's like
1080s that came out they were cheaper, but they were like quite expensive. I was kind of surprised by that.
I haven't seen any good benchmarks for that, but it seems like the 1080s, like I would be surprised if they were more than 50 to 75% faster than the 780s.
Yeah, they're
And
pretty
the
quick. They're
780s,
about a quarter faster than the 980s. So
so if they're about a quarter faster, then they're about 50%.
yeah,
But that card was, how much was each card? Like seven,
uh,
$800?
it was
700?
$680 total. I got the hybrid version with like the water cooling inserted into it too, which helps. Just
So
like
it
to
was
keep things cool.
$700.
Yeah, $700 each. Yeah, Christmas
So
present.
for $700, I could almost buy three 780s.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah,
So it's I mean I think the RAM is
but
one
you have a
issue.
lot of space though. The RAM's an issue, and then you have to have
The
enough
space,
cases of space. You'd have to do like
sure,
some sort of like weird external like rig or something that would kind of you could just throw a bunch of 780s on there. So you're
sure.
doing
The
your
space
math
is
does make sense. It totally makes sense, and I would couldn't argue against that. Vitali just got into Octane. We're watch your buttholes, everybody. And he just got a machine made, and he has 7 1080s in his machine. Yeah,
okay.
Pff, bastard.
Yeah,
In one
it's
machine,
definitely
yeah.
that's nuts. It the so I've been just getting those 780s and then just beating the shit out of them, and
And
they'll
just running
last
them.
for,
They get super hot, huh?
yeah, they get super fucking hot, and
Yeah.
they'll run
The new
for
ones that's what another thing about the 1080s. They run very cool, about half the temperature usually on
sure.
load too, which is really nice. So
Yeah, no, they definitely run very fucking hot. And well, and I don't like, I'm not super anal about like cooling them super properly. It's kind of like they're not like liquid cooled or some shit like that. I pretty much just throw them in the fucking box.
you can put them outside because it's cold
Hope
outside.
the
So
hope they last for a little bit, and if they burn out, they burn out because they were, you know, $200 now.
yeah, I mean that's not bad at all. So it's a
So
very cost-effective thing too. And if like I think for anybody, there's a lot of questions going on. If you're curious and wanting to get into the Octane world and this is new to you, and like definitely if you want to get a cost-effective, super highly effective like card, then the 780s are your bet. I think I remember when I was asking you about this stuff, I was like, hey, what should I get? And you were like, oh, get the 780s. I think that's when I think the 980s just came out when I asked you, so I was like, okay, and so I ended up getting the 980s, the
sure,
TIs actually, because then they were like overclocked and stuff, and they work good. And then I ended up getting some Titans. Now I have 9 GPUs, but I can only use 3 right now because I have it all set up. So, but that scatter material you're using is pretty cool. It seems like it's. I'm surprised you're using the scatter material rather than like a box for the scatter
oh, the
material.
like this thing.
Yeah.
So the thing with this is the scatter. I hate the like. I cannot figure out the like settings, like a good way to have the settings so that it like kind of that it's controllable. So I've got this little cheat sheet thing. Where the fuck is it? Not this. Scale.
We did a lot of weird stuff, Chris and I, when we were developing the look for that short film None that we were making to get that like volumetric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a bitch, dude. That stuff
Fuck.
takes forever to render too.
I don't see it now. God damn it. What the fuck was it called?
Balls.
Oh, balls.
Sex balls. Anal play. Hashtag anal play.
It might be anal play frog scale.
Yeah, it's tricky stuff though. Yeah, it's been a game changer though.
There we
That's
go.
awesome. Nice. So this is that's a preset that you grab that you can use.
I just set up the camera. So I basically set up the camera, finally dialed in the settings into something like good. So it's like, okay, if I put the camera here and I put something close here, and then I put the main thing that I want here, and then something far over here, the fog will be like proportional to like kind of how I want it.
Oh, that's
if that
interesting.
makes sense.
Yeah, how the hell do you set that up? That's pretty interesting.
I just manually fucked around with the settings until I got them how I wanted them. Just these like this stupid, because I don't understand what the fuck this like thickness and all these other things
all
are.
The absorption scatter material. Raul showed me a lot of that stuff and like dropped all that stuff. And it was pretty interesting.
I have a like very weak understanding of like, well, didn't you have to use it for that short film? Used a shit ton of it.
Yeah, we actually used the box. So like if you go into the Octane stuff, the Octane fog volume, and then we ended up making like a box of it, and then that gets really quite tricky because it's basically voxels, so and then it adds up. This is really quite interesting though, like what you've set up here. Like it works very similarly, so it's so helpful though, man. It's epic. That's the one thing I really some people talk a lot of shit about Octane. I'm like, well, whatever it is, whatever. But I think there's certain things that just, this is so cool, being able to have this. The one thing I love about it is being able to create like a render that's 98% there without having to do, because you know how it was before. This is one of the things that was the biggest turnoff, is like when you'd use standard render or something to render out, and they're like, okay, now it looks like balls. So I got to go into Photoshop or After Effects and like, all my passes and spend like, hours after that just to make it look decent, But now you can really get crazy with all this stuff inside, which is cool. So.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you can do that. Like, I can't, and it's something I wish I could do better, but I don't know how to like paint over things. And that's one thing I really wish I did know.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go into Photoshop and take something that's like, 70%.
Photoshop though, no?
I don't know it that good, to be honest. Not that I could do like a good like paint over. Like, I look at stuff like that you or Mache can like paint over something and really like make it fucking pop. Like, I don't understand light and like textures and shit like that, and I don't know Photoshop well enough to be able to like really take it to like another level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's just time. I think spending enough time in a program like you have here, so, and just like observing the natural world around you. So yeah, it's just time. I'm gonna ship off in like 5-10 minutes. I know we've gone way over, I think, what we expected. So, and thank you for sharing with us today. It's awesome.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
Record amount of people come out because you're such a popular dude. It's awesome. Tons. We usually on average have like 100, maybe 200 people visiting the stream. We've had a steady 400 to 500 people in the stream today.
Nice.
So yeah, a lot of, I think it's really cool. I think for me, it's really inspiring the way that you approach this stuff. Now you're just like, fuck it, like just go off and do what you want to do and make the work that you're interested in and stuff. So, and sharing it with people, I think is really quite different and unique and stuff. So I think it's really, I don't know, it's inspiring to me personally. I think it's really rad. So, yeah.
Nice. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Do you use linear color settings for your camera?
Honestly, rarely fuck with this.
Yeah. Linear gives you the most natural, and then you just adjust the gamma and stuff from there.
Yeah, I usually don't.
Yeah, you leave it there?
I leave it. I don't turn that on. Usually I do most of the like tweaking of that shit. I was just like fucking froze.
Oh no.
That doesn't seem good.
Did you save it at least?
I saved it a while ago.
Oh no.
It's not. It's not. I think we just ate it.
There you go. There you
Oh,
go. Save
back
that
page.
shit, dude. Save it.
Save. I've got like auto save on, but
Well, how do you come up with the names of these things? I know you have like really interesting, oddball names. Is this kind of like stream of consciousness kind of thing, or?
yeah, it's there's not a huge amount of thought usually.
What's the most
It,
important thing as a creative? Do you think is it just the action of doing it? Is it just the work that matters most?
yeah, I would say that's really the only thing. I mean, what else would there be?
Nothing else really, because the
I
work means everything, really, doesn't it?
I guess, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean actually.
Well, I think what I'm getting at is like, what's from your perspective, like, what is the most valuable thing that any artist can provide, like for themselves? Is it the work and the focus on the work, or is it something else other than that?
What do you mean provide?
Like, when you're going out and doing something, the work is what makes, like, it stands out. That's the thing that actually people use to kind of give you value or something like that. Is there something else that's more important than the work itself? That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Um, Not really. I mean, I don't. I think, but that's what, not really. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're doing work. I don't.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of people, like, I don't know, you'll probably encounter it more the more you get into like the film stuff that you start to do, but there's a lot of people that hide behind like facades of just talking a lot. You'll find a lot of that.
Sure.
I'm sure you counter that already anyways, but yeah, like, or just like weird things. But as an artist, like, I guess because you're also stepping into another new realm for yourself creatively, getting more into like the freelance. Have you quit that day job that you were doing
Yeah, that I quit like
a while ago, right?
Yeah, I kind of started doing freelance probably like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Do you like
I
it?
still, yeah, I do like it. It's there's parts about having like a more steady job. I mean, I like the people that I worked with at that job. That's kind of again back to like I'll work on the crappiest thing as long as it's with people that it's a fun environment.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's kind of, I don't know, that's one of the biggest things. But yeah, I mean, I've been lucky to work with, cool people that on projects that are, have been fun. So that's definitely been lucky in terms of the like freelance stuff. But I was doing freelance before that, so it wasn't like I was doing a lot of freelance before that, so it wasn't like this, to be honest, like huge transition. Like, okay, that's done. Now I'm on to this. Like it was much more of a like gradual progression.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it wasn't like I'm gonna quit my job and just do this. It was like, okay, well I've got like more than enough, kind of freelance stuff already set up that it wasn't a huge shift, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, it's awesome. I think it's always good to have that natural transition too, so it's not like earth shaking, So, and you have a family and everything. It's quite complex, with all these different
Yeah,
things.
it's
So,
kind of like I couldn't just. Yeah, I mean we've got definitely have bills that I couldn't just quit on a whim or whatever.
yeah, definitely. No, it's all good. How close are you now in this process to finishing this thing? Are you far
I
away
don't
still, or you just kind of go about it?
know. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's usually dependent on how much time I have and how
Sure.
much sort of how frustrated I am with it. Mostly it's dependent on how much time I have. It's like when I run out of time, then it's like done.
Yeah.
And what's frustrating is sometimes I'll like kind of look back and it's like, where it ended is so much shittier than where it was like 15 minutes before that.
Yeah.
But it's like now I'm really out of time, so I can't fucking go back to that. Or you'll just go down this like shitty path where it's like, fuck, it feels like it was better like a while ago. Like, not only have I wasted more time, but now it's shittier. You know what I
Oftentimes,
mean?
no, I know exactly what you mean. Like, oftentimes when you make something, it's usually you end up going to 100%, and then you go back to like 80%. Iterate, like you go back, and it's like, oh, it was better when I stopped dicking around with it this long ago. So
Yeah, sometimes it's like hard to like, yeah, just like let go and be like, well, that was it. It almost seems too easy sometimes,
yeah.
where it's like you feel the need to like add in more stuff. It's like, well, it was really better before you fucking masturbated it off for the last hour.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's just like the flow thing. I think that kind of comes with time, at least from my experience too. Like you learn to know when it's working and when it isn't too. You ever get into the node-based editor for materials? You ever get into that stuff?
Not usually, to be honest.
I like it a lot. It's been really fun. I don't even use the standard thing anymore. I just
It
go
doesn't. I
straight to
mean,
node.
what? It doesn't seem like. What's the difference? I mean,
It
what
allows you to do so many more parameters and control. So it's like you can
control
use a
what though?
hammer, or you can like use like a kitten
But
hand.
control what?
You can just control all kinds of crazy parameters. Like you can add like the dirt. You ever play with like the dirt parameter, like adding dirt?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
dirt on it right now.
But you could like go in. Do you know how to go? You go into the node
Yeah.
based editor. You can go and adjust like all the different thresholds. It just the interface is a lot easier, I think, for me at least. So not like that's just the sliders and stuff. But if you go into like the actual, yeah. So if you go into that, then what you can do is you can adjust like even for your bump map, for example. Like if you take your bump map and you click on, and right now it's on type normal, but if you go to float, it saves you some RAM as well. Some, like little things like that.
Yeah,
But
but
then you can
yeah.
go into more settings like in different pieces and bits. Like if you want to alter or scatter the dirt in a certain way, and you want to add like noise to it so that it builds up and congregates in certain areas, things like that. It just gets further and further. It's just more control basically. For me, it works and makes a lot of sense because oftentimes I'm after a certain particular exact thing, and it helps me
Mhm.
like really pinpoint on it. Whereas like the default is more of like a general feel thing, which I think it kind of like it works, but it kind of doesn't. So for me at
Sure.
least, so yeah,
I honestly usually don't fuck with it. I think yeah, I know what you mean. Like you can kind of like create things that are more complex by like combining all of these things, but I usually don't just because I don't have time to go super balls deep on like
yeah,
unless that's what I'm kind of focusing on that
sure.
day. I don't have time to go crazy balls deep.
Like if you had to create a certain type of material that did a certain thing that
Yeah,
usually,
then
yeah,
I would do it, but
yeah,
it's kind of like if that's not what I'm kind of focusing on that day, then I probably, you
yeah,
know, wouldn't fuck with it.
yeah. Awesome. All right, motherfuckers, Mike. It's been amazing. This is like really cool because it's like our podcast, but we're actually doing something and we're asking and answering questions and stuff, which is
Treat
cool. So
yourself.
treat yourself. It's been really awesome. Like because yeah, I know I think it varies so much when we're this is cool. I do this too. You adjust the seed and just watch it and let the computer like make art for you. And you're like,
It
okay.
sucks. Yeah, but
Sometimes it
you
comes up with
fucking.
epic stuff though. Yeah.
Sometimes it does, but you can also get freaking lost in that where it's like, okay, I've just been fucking hitting this goddamn thing for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even remember what the last thing looked like.
Yeah, yeah, you've changed it quite a bit. It's kind of changed a lot, but I like doing this when I'm just creating random stuff because then you can generate such interesting oddities. So,
Sure.
I always play with the seed part of
Just
the
like,
noise.
I like this one.
Yeah, yeah. Put a little dude up on the top of that thing.
I got to put my dudes in.
Got to put the scale dudes. Awesome.
Yep.
All right, I gotta go.
Yuck, dog.
Thanks, buddy. It's been great to catch
Thanks
up
for
with
having
you.
me on.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Anytime you want, just let me know.
Oh,
Come back
easy.
on. Maybe we'll do one with like you, me, and Mache or something to be fun. He could show us some Daz 3D stuff or something.
Dude,
Or
we
maybe
should
we could
get
have Fusion or something.
G-Monk.
Yeah, we can get G-Monk on here. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
Have him do
dude.
something.
What the
That'd be fun.
fuck is going on with that kid?
I don't know. He's out in where was it? Did he send us a text message from like Slovenia or something like that?
Bulgaria?
Bulgaria, yeah. He's up to no good. Causing a ruckus everywhere he goes. No. Yeah, definitely. We'll do one with the three of us. That'd be a lot of fun. I think
Yeah, dude.
I'll hit him
Sure.
up and we'll see if like he's down for that thing. I don't see why not. So, but
Yeah, dude, for sure.
thanks, dude. I appreciate you being here.
Awesome.
Thank you for being awesome and sharing everything and being so
Yeah, dude.
inclusive. And
I appreciate it.
I'll text you a picture of my balls later.
Yeah, okie doke. Take her easy, sir.
See everybody, and everybody have a great day, and be nice and play nice, have fun, and see ya.